Everybody, thank you very much for being here as we get into some post-match comments from our head coach of the senior women's national team, Coach Hubert Busby, and also a reflection of JFF Live of off the pitch as well, how things took center stage. As we know, our women's national team are in camp in Peru, two friendly internationals in this international window for the women. We recorded a 2-0 victory over Peru on Sunday. As many of you are aware, this was our first win on South American soil since 2018. But before we get some comments from Coach Busby, we just want to have a few opening remarks. And before we get to the General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Mr. Dennis Chung, just to remind everybody as well to do subscribe to the YouTube channel, JFF Live, for all the latest information as well. You have JFF News, which is held every Monday at 10 a.m., so you can be able to get some information there as well. And thank you very much to all the members that have been able to purchase memberships that they can have access to the games as well. And that will help you to have access to the game on Wednesday as well. So let's kick things off. Mr. Chung, good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Simon. Let me just say hello to Coach Busby. Excellent job. And also to Gary also, and to everybody who is here joining us. I want to say how elated I am with the progress that the girls have been making, and also with the developments with the YouTube channel and the coverage. This has been a vision that we have always wanted to not just control our own productions, but also carry football to all our fans throughout the world. And Simon will give you some numbers, but I know with the last Trinidad game, 82% of viewership was outside of Jamaica, which shows the responsibility that we have to carry football, JFF football and Jamaica football, to our fans and our supporters all over where they are. Of course, we work very closely with the supporters groups, and Gario and Kyle, who has helped us with this YouTube channel, is just one of the groups that came on and enthusiastically did what the ardent supporters would do, and helped us to bring football to everyone. As we look forward to the games, I expect that we will do well for the next game and also the upcoming games that are happening. I'm just saying that I'm happy with the progress. I'm happy with the team that's working on it. Simon also is the face of JFF News, which everyone has been receiving very well, and I'm very proud of what they have done. It makes my job a lot easier with all of these people around. And I just want to say thank you to you guys, the media, because you're always honest, and it provides us with good feedback as to how we need to improve. So I want to thank you and say to you, help us to take Jamaica football, the news about from JFF to the world, because definitely we want to look at our relationship as a partnership going forward. So that's it, Simon. Thanks a lot, Simon. I'm sure you'll have some more statistics for everyone here. And just say thanks to everyone here, Coach and Gary also, for the support that we've been getting.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chung. And yes, before we do hear from Coach Busby with his remarks, just to provide that information that Mr. Chung was alluding to. But first, we acknowledge the presence of our General Manager, Mr. Roy Simpson, that has joined us online as well. But alluding to what Mr. Chung said earlier, yes, in terms of subscribers, JFF Live has grown to over 22,061. And prior to the game yesterday, it was lingering in the 21,000 region. In terms of membership, it has grown from 398 to 420 members. So of course, thank you very much to the members of the media as well for publicizing the information, what JFF Live is, and of course, the way forward in terms of streaming matches, specifically friendly matches as well. So that is greatly appreciated. And of course, persons are aware for Wednesday's game as well, which is 4 o'clock Jamaica time as well. Persons know the routine as well. Once you purchase your membership, you will have access to the game. So now let's have some comments from Coach Busby. Coach Busby, you had the flash interview.
And Simon, before Coach Busby talks, we have a very important match later also, right?
That is correct. We have
20 girls. Yeah.
our under 20 girls would face Nicaragua in the CONCACAF Women's under 20 qualifiers in Managua. A victory for our under 20 girls this evening will mean that they qualify for the final round of World Cup qualifying, the CONCACAF Women's under 20 Championship. And on paper, that is slated for May 8 to 18. We still wait for further confirmation from CONCACAF in relation to the venue for the final round. So yes, that is right. It has been a busy weekend of football in terms of all our a couple of national teams involved. So 7 o'clock this evening, and it will be on CONCACAF's YouTube channel. 7 o'clock this evening, our under 20 reggae girls will face Nicaragua. A victory for our under 20 girls, and they will advance to the final round in relation to CONCACAF under 20 qualifying, where they'll compete for one of four tickets for the under 20 World Cup. So thank you very much for the reminder, Mr. Chung. And now we head over to Coach Busby, who will give his remarks post yesterday's game and also looking ahead to Wednesday's encounter.
Yes, thanks, Simon. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to echo those sentiments and wish the U20 Reggae Girls technical staff, players, all the best. This evening, we'll be tuning in to watch after our team meeting and hoping they advance to the next round. So we wish them well. As far as yesterday's game is concerned, obviously we got the result we want, as well as a clean sheet, which is always very satisfying in terms of coming and playing international matches of this magnitude especially on away soil. So, pleased overall with the performance. I thought there was times in the game that we were probably a little bit impatient and led to a little bit of a hectic, helter-skelter type of match, which wasn't really within our plan. We wanted to be able to manage the game, which would then in turn manage the crowd. But overall, I thought the players did really well. As sort of I alluded to after the match, I thought we should have been a little bit better in front of goal, but that's football. These things happen at time. I think the pleasing thing is that we're able to create chances, and as we all know, that's the most difficult part of not just in the game of football is scoring them, but being able to create opportunities. And I thought we did that very well. So that was a positive to take from. As I alluded to, keeping a clean sheet and not conceding for the first time, probably about 4 matches with another really positive. Since South Africa, a lot of positive, positives that we can take away as well. So, and then finally, I think just ecstatic with the young players that came in. Some of them a little bit out of position or positions that they kind of played or used to in college, but we had a really good talk with them individually and set out, what their roles and responsibilities were, if they were to get in, whether they come in from the start or they come in from the bench. I thought they did a really good job coming on, especially towards the end, and obviously two debuts to Ingleton and Blades, who I thought did really well. For the match, especially, like I said, in some cases with Naima playing out of position. So overall, or positions that she's probably used to in college. So overall, I thought the staff did really well in terms of getting the players prepared after a long flight, cross-continental flight as well. So today, we've started a recovery process this morning. The medical team and high performance team done a great job. They'll do some lifting today, some pool work, and sort of relax. And then we'll have our post-match meeting this evening. We'll kind of debrief, go over some of the things we thought really well. We kind of refer to them as our glow areas. And then we'll look to address some areas where we still need to grow. And take some of the things that we want to implement into the next match on Wednesday into tomorrow's training.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. Much appreciated. Members of the media, before you raise your hand for questions you may have for Coach Busby, we're just going to get a few remarks from Gary O'Graham on the production side of things, how yesterday went, and briefly the way forward as well for Wednesday. Gary?
Thank you, Simon. Appreciate it. First and foremost, good afternoon, Mr. Chung and Coach. Great seeing you guys. And as far as yesterday and this whole past week, I want to thank the Peruvian production team here on the ground for all their support. It hasn't been easy with the language barriers. However, it's been a smooth. Yesterday was a smooth production. The broadcast went pretty well. The connection was very stable. We had some concerns about potential Wi-Fi internet connections underground here, but obviously we got through the 2 hours very smoothly without any major interruptions or drop-offs, which is great. The only call out, a few folks may wonder why we didn't have commentary. That is out of our control. That's something that we're dealing with internally. However, the number one focus is to make sure you guys are able to watch the game and stream the game to your liking. But we are, as we take these steps going forward with international clubs, as we iron out these details, we are looking at all capabilities. But yesterday was an amazing start, and we're looking forward to Wednesday.
Thank you very much, Gario. Members of the media, this is your opportunity now to please first raise your hand. Any questions you may have for Coach Busby or maybe it might be Gario as well. Let's start with the Jamaica Gleaner. Bryce, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, Bryce, go ahead.
All right, so my question is for Coach Busby. Coach, one game now, as you said, the win, the clean sheet, and a lot of positives really seen from this game. What will be the plan for you? I'm going into the second game, especially regarding the squad selection. Will we be seeing as strong a selection as the first game, or as a case where now, having senior opponents, you will be more experimental with bringing in more younger players or the newer players starting or coming off the bench earlier?
Yeah, that's a good question. We need to be able to manage the load of the players coming off. So, I think later on this evening, tomorrow morning will be a good indication in terms of just where we're at. But yes, you can definitely expect to see a lot of changes in the squad and possibly some, tweaks to the way that we play. And, formation wise, we're still going to go that based on the personnel that we want to implement. But again, it's really about giving a lot of these young players an opportunity in terms of what that looks like for international football. I think what we also have to be very cautious of as well is that, you don't throw too many young players in all at once. They need some, as we say, some steady heads around them to kind of get through some of the difficult moments when we are suffering and things aren't going our way. So I think it's important that we have some of those players on the pitch as well. But overall, yeah, as we kind of alluded to, everyone's going to get a chance to have some minutes during the next game. So really excited about that and really excited to see how some of these players step up.
Bryce, do you have a follow-up question?
Actually, yeah, I do. Now speaking about that, you're saying that the mixture of the youth and the experienced players, with these changes in the selection to be expected, is the expectation for perhaps game results going to shift? Perhaps we're winning isn't the priority anymore, more about how these players compete against, like I said, I'm a very competitive South American opponent.
No, I mean, look, winning is a habit, and we're here to win football matches, and that's contagious, and that's part of our DNA, and that's what we want to have in. So when we step on the field, it's one of the reasons why, again, you balance out your squad because, some of the veterans are leading those players and showing them, not just in training, but obviously, on the pitch as well, what's required to win a football match, and what's required to get a result. It's all encompassing. So our goal tomorrow is to go out there again and to play on the front foot and to start off the way we did. That was a game plan, and in terms of how we go about the match. Our last two training sessions was geared on us taking the game to the opposition and looking to see if we can win the match early, and then try to manage the game. And then those are all the things that we want to be able to take out of this match and be able to, as part of our growth, being able to take those into World Cup qualifiers as well. So, our objective, doesn't change. Our objective is to go out there tomorrow again, with a good performance, with the end result, looking for us to win the match.
Thank you very much, Bryce. Members of the media are reminded to raise your hand if you have a question for Coach Busby. And Coach, as you're aware, in terms of in the region, teams that are close to us within the rankings played the USA, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica. You would have seen those results as well and have stressed so often about the rankings and how important it is to go up as well. So you can touch on that as well, the importance of continuing to rise within the FIFA rankings.
Yeah, I think, with the new sort of format, getting placed in terms of what that road to Brazil looks like. So the higher seed you have within CONCACAF not necessarily means an easier road, just means you're not playing as many ranked competitors on your way to those matches. And so, making sure that again we're winning these games and getting the requisite points are important. But really, right now, it is about us just making sure that we're building and getting all the things we want in place that are going to put us in good stead come the fall. And yeah, we've watched the results. I think that the key one for us in Spain was the Mexico Canada one, because those are two competitors within CONCACAF. Last night till 1 o'clock in the morning, I watched the Australia USA one a bit just to kind of see where things are. And yeah, our focus is here, but it's also, two things happen at once. You've got to kind of keep your eye on some of the results. And again, we saw some of the CONCACAF teams do well in beating, CONMEBOL teams during the same window. So yeah, it's multifaceted. A lot of different things have to happen at the same time. But yeah, we're working hard to ensure that we're preparing ourselves as the coaching staff and therefore the players and the group accordingly.
All right, thank you. Coach Marlon, go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Coach, it seems that majority of our attacks came down the left. Was this to play to our strengths, or where it was a known target to our weakness of the Peruvians?
No, I think our sort of models is to try to play through our flanks because we have dynamic and quick players there. I mean, sometimes it just so happened that that's where it is. I think there's moments where we really could have switched to play and gone out the other side. But again, if we really want to break it down technically, your players open up, there's sometimes they go opposite side, but it wasn't anything deliberate. I think in terms of our plan was to attack into the wide areas and create opportunities into wide areas. And like all good teams, they look to adjust and they see that. And obviously their coach and coaching staff adjusted that as well. And so we had to then solve another potential problem and find different solutions. And we were able to do that. So it wasn't an intent as much as it's the way sometimes the rhythm of the game takes you or that allows.
Thanks very much, Marlon. Bryce, go ahead.
Right. Afternoon again, Coach. A question that just came to me. I remember during the Cup of Nations when we had played and when we were invited to the Cup of Nations back in 2023, Drew Spencer made a comment saying that for the team to be continually improving, we need to be playing against top class oppositions and teams that are better than us. With the She Believes Cup also going on right now, is there any future plans that for the team to continue rising up the ranks and then potentially get these consistent invitations to these kind of tournaments like the She Believes Cups, the Cup of Nations, where we're playing against teams much higher ranked than us to force us to really improve? Are this something a bit out of reach for the program right now?
No, it's not about a bit out of reach. I think, first of all, I think if you go back, when we first started this journey, we played two of the toughest teams that you can imagine, coming out right off the bat with a new cycle. And that was Brazil on home soil, right before the Olympics, motivated players, Marta send-off games. And that team, if you recall, I said that team is going to do very well in the Olympics. And you turn around and the result, which we knew because we saw it firsthand in front of 32 and 35,000 people straight on. We knew that team was going to be good. And that team goes on and they win a silver medal at the Olympics, right? And then you turn around, you play a top 10 opposition in France, who's always going to be good, perennial or African nations champs in the likes of South Africa. So we've been, testing those teams. As you know, what's going on right now in Europe in some cases is that they have their own Nations League that started already. So those games are already built into those calendars. So, we're not being able to play them. Traditionally, the U.S. and She Believes Cups really don't invite teams from CONCACAF in. They want to say a different selection of teams come into their tournament. But consciously, what we wanted to do is we wanted to sort of recreate the travel our players might be or the conditions our players might experience coming to Central and South America. I think that was really important for us, our players to get used to. The language barrier kind of was alluded to earlier today. The different conditions, travel, 10 million people in Lima, getting around, that's an hour and a half, to and from 3-hour round trip. These are things that we have to understand that get us battle weary for the things that we might experience. And so, look, we're always going to, we don't shy away from anybody, but we also have to play the games that are presented to us as well. But, we continue to do that. It's something that we are deliberate about. But the most important thing for us is for us to be playing each and every window, and we're doing that at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Bryce. Thank you very much as well to members of the media. Appreciate you being here this afternoon. Jason, you can be able to take the last question this afternoon. Go ahead.
Thank you, Simon. Afternoon to you and the coach. Coach, I had a question for you on a particular player. I know that the last window we played against South Africa, I would say some of the Reggae Girls fans would have been a little bit underwhelmed with the performances of Jodie. And I just wanted to ask, have you seen something specifically in training that lent itself to her performance yesterday? As I thought she was one of the better players on the pitch, just looked more comfortable overall in the attacking areas. I know some of the finishing could have been better, but I do think that she was, a big part of a lot of the success we had in terms of creating chances. So is there something tangible you've seen in training, maybe something she's picked up in her time at Benfica?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think sometimes there's a human element. That's why, sometimes, players they show up and they do really, really well, and sometimes they don't. And we've seen that across, both genders at times and all across the world, and I mean that's what makes extremely, good players great, is that they show up all the time. But look, I think there's things as well, in fairness to her, that sometimes maybe we don't put her or other players in better situations. So as a coaching staff, we'll always try to put players in the best positions to do well. But as far as even the last camp, there's some things, overall maybe she didn't get on the score sheet, but she did assist on one of Bunny's goals, if you recall. So there was a positive action. But sometimes it's just a camp or a series of games, and again, to your point, it's how you rebound from that. That's what life's all about, is how to react from disappointment and setbacks. And for her to come into this camp and have a really, really good game is what it's all about. And again, still remembering as well that she's a young player. She's a first year pro, so you're going to have ebb and flows of young players. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit inconsistent, but she showed up, having taken a transcontinental flight from Portugal. So we're glad that she's able to do that, and we're proud of her performance. But I wouldn't look anything into it. I think it's just part and parcel with international football, and part and parcel with football in general. You're going to have good days and bad days, good camps and bad camps. And, we just have to be consistent and supportive of those players when they're not necessarily playing at their highest level, and try to figure out how we can help them be better, both in camp and when they're not with us as well. And I think we try to do a good job with that to the best of our ability. So, may it continue. May she have another great game again tomorrow, and then we go from there.